back to you with some sort of proposal and price range, because of course that may also affect your willingness to engage. So if there is some sort of amendment to this that requires us to come back to you with some options, then that is something we could undertake to give you different potential parameters or scopes, because they're very different size projects, which of course would involve different size dollar amounts, sight unseen. I mean, common sense simply says that. So I think there are at least 2, but there are probably 3 GMs and possibly my office as well that might need to be involved in an undertaking of that size. So I can't say right now who'd take the lead, but it'd be a conjunctive thing.
Councillor Brunton.
Thank you, Mayor Luke. I sent out today the RIGS report that was done, I believe, correct me, 2014 by the Conservation Authority. I sent that to everybody, and it touched on the different zones at Long Point. And I'm just wondering, like, I think the thrust behind this whole idea is that, and I've seen it happen at the Conservation Authority, whereas one person has to hire the rigs or whatever, get that work done, and before you know it, they're into thousands of dollars for one property owner. And I think if we can initiate this somehow and set a plan for certain areas of Long Point, we pass that on to the owners, or rigs, for example, rigs would pass that on. That's my understanding of it. And again, that report in 2014 touches on a lot of stuff. So I'm wondering if we just can't expand on that, whether we do it or go through the Conservation Authority. And perhaps it might be in order for us to bring it up at the LPRCA and ask them if we can expand on that 2014 report. Saves us the money. So I would like to recommend that if Councillor Height would agree to refer this to the LPRCA first and see if we can expand on the existing RIGS report, if we could get that by our board. I don't know what his thoughts are on that.
My concern with that, Mr. Mayor, is Long Point is in the watershed at the Conservation Authority, but I feel it's Norfolk County Council's problem. We own those lots. The county owns those lots, right? Do I want somebody from Haldeman making a decision on what happens in Norfolk County for me? I would if they were cutting me a check, but I don't see it that way. And that's where the concern is. The shoreline protection plans, not to be confused with the shoreline management plan, that I've seen, and I've picked that example from, came from municipalities. They didn't come from conservation authorities. Just like if Norfolk County was to implement the shoreline management plan, we would pay the lion's share of that, and Brant and the few other municipalities would kick in a few dollars, but in the grand scheme of things, it's the plan for Norfolk County. So I want this council, terms and reference, we're setting those.
Your Worship, it may be a case where we both pay. Norfolk County pays similar, but Long Point kicks in too. But I think it is shoreline protection, and they're going to have a say in it. So I'm just wondering if maybe we touch base with them first, get their input, and come back to council. Maybe it's something we split the cost with. I'm not sure, but it is a shoreline protection issue. So we're going to have to go to the LPRC anyways at some point. So, anyway. So Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that we defer this to LPRCA first, and then if we discuss it there, and perhaps if they agree, get the board to agree, we come back and maybe it's some form of cost sharing. At least we put it in the budget, or try to put it out at budget time and see where it goes. And I'll make a recommendation to that it be deferred to the LPRCA.
So if I may, Councillor Brunton, you would move a motion that Councillor Height's motion be referred to LPRCA for consideration and then be brought back to council for our consideration. Okay? That would be in order. It's not a deferral, but it's referring the issue. Councillor Brunton, I'll put you down as the mover. Sorry about my voice, I'm losing it here. Would I have a seconder for the motion to refer this to LPRCA for consideration first? Councillor Wells? Okay, well then, we will now speak, if you wish, we will speak to the motion of Councillor Bruntons to send this off to LPRCA first, before we consider. Speaking to that motion, anyone? Councillor Oliver?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'm going to support this. I was originally going to ask to have the two things separated because I still kind of feel if council feels so inclined, we could make the request to reinstitute the Shoreline Property Assistance Act even while we investigate the feasibility of having, for example, LPRCA undertake an emergency shoreline protection program that would allow private landowners to protect their property, et cetera. But maybe even doing that would create false expectations if there's no feasible way of doing the second part. So I think I will support deferring the whole thing to them. They will tell us, LPRCA will tell us if in fact other CAs are reactivating the Shoreline Property Assistance Program and that sort of thing. So I think this is the right thing. I appreciate, as I said before, what Councillor Height's trying to do, but I think this is the right way to handle it for the time being. Because like it or not, LPRCA are the experts, and they are the ones that would need to lead this process.
Anyone else on Councillor Brunton's motion? I will call the question on that motion to refer to LPRCA for their consideration before being brought back for our consideration. Any other discussion? I'll call the question. Those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you very much. I'll give you Councillor Height's motion then. Maybe a 5-minute break, gentlemen. Your call. So made. See you.
Strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk stranger along. With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger along. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger along. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, on a strip of sandy soil, lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger long. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger along. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Up north on a strip of sandy soil,
I'd like to get started again. If you can find your seats in a moment, that'll be
it's
appreciated.
Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own.
Wednesday afternoon services at 9.
Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk.
Her name is Lee.
You won't be a stranger along.
Be there, be square, Charlie.
Take in the small
there.
town
I'll see you there.
atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home.
Indian men are two of my favorite
Drop a
all-time
line in a placid lake or
Okay, let's
stroll along the
move
shore.
forward, as we say.
Take a tour on a peaceful country road.
Okay, we've finished
Be
our
back for more.
deputations of public meetings. I will go to page 30. This is the adoption, correction of council meeting minutes, and these are from 2 weeks ago, which would be May the 9th, our regular council meeting. Councilor Wells, please, anything on these minutes? Fire away.
I do, and thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. And Mr. Mayor, I do not object to the way the minutes are written, so that's not what I'm standing up here for. But I would like to draw your attention to resolution number 8, which is on page 36, and resolution number 10, which is on page 37. Now, and again, you know we spent a great deal of time
It's on
talking about
display
these two applications
at our fall
and had
fairs
the
and at
applicants
all
here
the
and all that sort of
festivals
thing.
too.
And we approved 2 lots, so they can build on those 2 lots, and they don't have to change the road. So no problem there. The question that Mr. Vanden Busch called me today and asked, there are 10 lots in all, basically 6 that can be built upon. His question to me was, and I did not have the answer, and that's why I'm standing, Mr. Mayor, Do the other, to sell the other lots, whoever buys them, do they have to come in and make an application? And do they have to fix the road? I mean, that's the whole thing, isn't it? It's this road. And that's what I need to know. What about the road? I know they have to come in and apply and all that sort of thing, but do they have to repair the road?
Any thoughts on Gowrie Street from,
Well, I'll speak to the planning piece, and
Yes.
then
On a
Ms.
strip of
Robinson, she can
Thank you.
sandy
respond to that.
soil.
So the
lies a county
purpose of that
called
meeting
Norfolk.
2 weeks ago
It's
was
Ontario.
was to give the approval to those two lot owners because they were on the bank. So they had all the geotechnical work done that satisfied us, so we could be supportive. However, there was still the issue of the roadway. So for the other lots, if they come forward, it would simply be a building permit, and we would deal with that at that time. As far as I think the question that still didn't get answered was, how do we treat Cumberland Street and Gowrie Street? And maybe Ms. Robinson can explain her position there.
Through the mayor to council, with respect to that, they are still unopened and unmaintained roads, so they are posted as unmaintained roads, so we will continue to do that unless we receive direction from council that they are to be opened and maintained.
Well, thank you very much for that, Ms. Robinson. And if I understand you correctly, then if they get a building permit, they can build on the lot, and we meaning the county, will not be worried about the road at this particular time. Is that basically correct?
Through the mayor to council, I will defer to Chris about if there's any other planning approvals that are needed, but
Yeah.
from a road point of view, it will continue to be unopened and unmaintained.
Yep.
just for my curiosity, Chris, I'm sorry, I had it open here. I know this a lot from Mr. Murphy came a year or so ago initially, because I know I went down and walked it from top to bottom. Was there not a rezoning because of the hazard line that was moved, and therefore that was a hurdle as well? I don't know if rezoning is the right word I'm using, but it seemed to me that it was more than just the slope stability that was required.
I believe, Mr. Mayor, it had to do with ground truthing the hazard line, and whether, if it's just been drawn simply in an office, the LPRC staff, when they go out to do their inspections, they'll do that and determine, perhaps the line shouldn't be here, it could be over here. And it all dealt with being able to build what size of an envelope and at what distance back from the top of slope. And that was satisfied by that geotechnical study that both parties had completed.
Okay, so I think that's good advice. Come in and ask if you can have a building permit or purchase one and go from there. And you'll find out real quick what you're up against, if anything. Okay, good question. Never thought of that. Anything further? If not, I'm declaring those minutes adopted as read. If I could go to page 46 now, under page 45, under communications. I have a motion here on page 45. The motion is moved by Wells, seconded by Geisens, that the correspondence from Laura Pettigrew, the Ontario Ombudsman Office, be received as information. Any discussion on this? Those in favor? Carried. Yes. Councillor Black, go ahead. Not yet. No, they'll require a motion, which we'll have here in a moment, okay? Pardon? That was just the council from 2 weeks ago. We'll get to the reports of committees in a moment, so thanks for keeping me on my toes. Now I will go to page 46 and 47. Moved by Brunton, seconded by Oliver, that the correspondence of Sherry Cantor respecting request for a billing reduction be received for information. Just before I ask for discussion, just for clarification, I know that some councilors have been dealing with this issue for some time. I know I was drawn in to this back in the winter sometime, and a couple weeks ago, I got emails, and I said, if you're not happy with the decision, you can always respectfully ask council for your request. So, sure enough, it was forwarded to me and gave it to my clerk, and here it is for council's consideration, and that's just the way we deal with things. So I did see, Councillor Height, I believe your hand on this motion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, my question is more about the invoice. It says here, quantity 1, sewer rotting, testing charge, service report. Is that, how many hours were spent on this?
Well, I'll get Lee, and I note the date, I think was the day before Christmas. I'm not sure. Yeah, there it is down there, yeah. But anyhow, I'll get Lee to just maybe give us some rationale as to the costs.
Through the mayor to council, with respect to this invoice, through council, we have a set fees and charges bylaw. It sets the costs associated with undertaking this activity. We have 2 different fees associated with this. One is during business hours, and the other one is if we have to call staff out to do it. It is a fixed fee, and so this reflects, the phone call was made on Christmas Eve. I believe it was Christmas Eve when our county offices were closed. They were advised that an after-hours charge would be applied when they came out. We had recommended that they contact some private firms instead because typically they are less expensive than county staff to come out on a holiday. And they advised us that they wish to have county staff do that. So county staff went out, cleared the blockage. This is a fixed fee regardless of the amount of time that is undertaken to do the work. When they did call us to inquire with respect to the costs, et cetera, staff advised that we do not have the authority under the fees and charges bylaw to waive any of these fees, and they should be brought to council should council wish to waive any of the fees associated with this work.
Thank you for that. And Mr. Mayor, I noticed also the, very high interest rate on this one, 15%, if they don't pay their bills. But is this a case also like the water and wastewater where if it's not paid, it just sits in some uncollectible account and just continues to accrue interest, or do we charge it back to the landowner?
Through the mayor, I'm going to defer to James Johnson on this one.
Through the chair, the 15% interest rate is a simple interest method. It's not compounded interest, so it works out to be 1.25% per month that we would put on it. As far as being charged, we would make sure that the landowner is the one being charged because there is a property involved, so we would make sure it would be the owner of the property is being charged for the service.
That includes putting it on the tax bill if they do not pay this bill?
Yes, through the chair, sorry, I didn't answer that question. If there, after a certain amount of time, through the Municipal Act, we have the authority to put this on the tax bill if it's not paid.
Okay, I also noticed under the payment options, there's no Visa or MasterCard or American Express. Will we be looking at that? I know it's been a few years. We talked about it, I think, the first year I was here, and we haven't seen that move ahead yet.
Through the chair, that is definitely an option. With accepting Visa and MasterCard, we also incur Visa and MasterCard charges, which on average is about 3% of the fee, so we would then have to increase the fees by 3%. So I believe we've opted for charges like this, not accept credit cards because of the added expense to the taxpayer.
Thank you, Councillor Black.
Thank you, Mayor Luke. Through you to Lee. Just wonder about the routes. I know we've had many similar situations like this, and people will suggest that the problem is Norfolk County's because it's their tree, and Norfolk County's tree roots are getting into the system and causing the problem. So really, why should they pay when Norfolk County's tree caused the problem? So can you speak to that? Is that the problem here?
Through the mayor to council, there is a long history of this property. We have been out and did some work previously on the property with respect to that. When we videoed it, we advised the property owner that the portion of the sewer lateral that is on their property was in a significant state of disrepair, and that tree roots and everything else will get into it because it needed to be repaired. And the homeowner chose not to repair their portion of the lateral. Roots can't get in somewhere if it's watertight. And unfortunately, due to the history of this thing, the service is deteriorated and therefore provides an easy access for that sort of thing. We can confirm that it was roots that did that. And we had been out there, we had done repair work to our side of the lateral to address the tree root issue. Unfortunately, the homeowner chose not to repair their side of the lateral to prevent it from occurring in the future.
So, but the tree was ours?
My understanding is that one of the trees in the area is ours, yes.
Okay, but there are many or others?
My understanding is that there are other plantings that would have roots that would be involved in this as well, yes.
Okay. I know we've had this problem many times, and I know in Simcoe, and I think when the homeowner's side is dug up, they put a solid line in, right? So roots cannot get into the new lines that they put in. I mean, the old ones, they were like tiles or something, weren't they? And the roots would just get into the cracks and fill right up.
Through the mayor to council, yes. Historically, sanitary sewer wasn't deemed to need to be watertight, so they used vitrified clay pipe. So it came in about 1.5 foot, maybe 2 foot lengths, and they just sort of slid them together. And as a result, they were never fully sealed and fully watertight. Now with environmental concerns, we use a solid pressurized pipe to ensure that roots can't get into the system as well.
Well, that's good. What have we done in the past with some of these situations? Do you know, have we helped people out because they are our roots, or have we not?
Through the mayor to council, the response has pretty much been all over the map with respect to what we've done to address the situation. We have removed the tree at the county's cost to ensure that they do not have this problem, although they did not repair their sewer lateral. We did remove the tree because there is a documented history of trouble in this location. With respect to other locations, we have done everything from removing the trees to videoing it, rotting it at no cost to the property owner, which we have done historically in this location as well. This is by no means the first incident of roots getting into the sanitary lateral. So I would say that there isn't a specific precedent. We have done just about every combination in the last 5 years.
Councillor Wells. Thank you, Councillor Black.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, $600 is rather excessive. There's no doubt about that. However, listening to Ms. Robinson, we have been there before. We have notified them that they have a problem, and they have not addressed the problem. Did I hear you correctly?
That is correct.
And I think I know the answer, but I'll ask it anyway. If we were to waive part of this fee, who would pick up the extra money?
Through the mayor to council, as council is well aware, the water and the wastewater are rate funded, so the additional cost would be taken up in the wastewater rate budget, so effectively it would be distributed over all of the other wastewater rate payers in Norfolk County.
And I think, to be fair, I think I might feel differently, Mr. Mayor, if we have not already been there, have told the person on several occasions they have a problem, removed the tree, as well as went there and you took out the roots once before. I think we have bent over backwards to be accommodating, and I feel sorry for the person. However, I would also feel sorry if we passed the bill on to some other person who had no reason to receive an extra billing. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anything further, Councillor Columbus?
Yes, Councillor Black has touched on what I was going to share is the tree is the municipally owned tree, and yet it gets into this pipe. Now, back in the Township of Delhi days, some of the problem was the community services staff, recreation community service staff, used to plant the trees. Public Works used to install the piping. So the two, I guess, didn't communicate. A lot of times, the tree is planted right over top of the piping because they're two different divisions. That was a bit of a problem. But I did look into this when I first received this email. I think it was in January. Mayor Luke, I think you received it at the same time. And I spoke with somebody at Public Works on this, and I was told that you would forgo the interest, the penalty, the interest on this. I forget who I spoke to, but would that be in order to forgo the interest if this payment is made for the work of $600?
Through the mayor to council, that is correct. Staff have that ability within our rights that if they agree to pay it and they pay it, we would waive the interest charges associated with it. But my understanding from conversations with the I'm going to say the owner's representative is that they're not interested in paying. They would like the original amount reduced as well. That is not within staff's ability as it's been set by the fees and charges bylaw. We don't have the ability to change that.
Okay, so do we need you're prepared to waive the interest, the penalty since January on this without having a motion passed? Is that it?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
You heard the motion to receive as information. I'll call the question. Those in favor? It's carried. On to page 48, moved by Councillor Brunton, seconded by Councillor Height, that the request from Mickey Joseph to use the Governor Simcoe Square on June 15th, 2017 be approved. Any discussion? Those in favor? Thank you, and this has been a normal, regular event on a normal basis every June. And finally, page 49, moved by Councillor Oliver, seconded by Councillor Brunton, that the mayor be directed to sign the joint letter in opposition of the OPG Nuclear Waste Repository. Any discussion on this? Councillor Oliver, please.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. We did speak about this last week, so I won't add much to it, but I think since we originally got the correspondence to most recently, there were a bunch of other signatures added as well. I don't know if council members looked at all the various names of the various mayors. So I think this is something we should throw our support behind since we did the first time around 2 or 3 years ago. Who knows what influence it might have, but it probably will have some influence if a whole bunch of mayors in both the Canadian and U.S. side of the Great Lakes get on board with this. So we really appreciate it if you're willing to do that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Black.
Luke, I wonder, I know Councillor Oliver probably knows more about this than anyone, but I wonder if you could offer an explanation of what's going on. I have an inkling of what they want to do is excavate it underneath the lake or something like that, and they want to put all of this radioactive material and store it under there. I wondered if Councillor Oliver could maybe expand on that. I think the public would be interested to know this.
I don't profess to know much, Mr. Mayor, but I can a little. The intent is because where the Bruce Nuclear Facility is located, up on the north shore of, on the east shore of Lake Huron, the bedrock is relatively shallow up there. So the intent of the OPG proposal was to actually through drilling and mining, create a large underground depository in the bedrock on shore, but very close to the shoreline, where waste material that is radioactive as a result of being part of nuclear infrastructure would be stored. It's not waste fuel, it's not used fuel, it's actually steel, who knows what else that was part of boilers or turbines or reactor housing, et cetera, which has become highly radioactive as a result of being in that process. They've got to do something with it. They can't just leave it on the surface. So this was the idea. And I believe OPG chose a spot like that because it was very close to where it's all becoming radioactive in the first place, i.e. on the Bruce Nuclear Power Facility. So the idea of storing it is a good thing, Mr. Mayor, but I think everyone realizes that's not a good place because of the potential risk at some point in the future of a fracture through the bedrock or whatever, which would allow lake water potentially to get into that depository and become contaminated and then still be part of the Great Lakes watershed flow downriver.
Thanks, Councillor Oliver, I appreciate that. And Mayor Luke, I think maybe the only safe way to deal with any of this material is to fire it off in a rocket to Mars or someplace like that. I don't think there's any safe place on Earth.
Any other discussion? You've heard the motion. Those in favor? It's carried. I'll be pleased to write the letter on behalf of this council. I'll now go to reports of committees. The first one is the council and committee minutes of May the 16th. Geisens has moved. Wells has seconded that the council and committee minutes of May 16, 2017 be approved as presented with the exception of resolutions numbers 9 and 10, which are pulled and will be dealt with in further discussion. Any discussion other than 9 or 10? Those in favor? Carried. Resolution 9, page 61 of your agenda. There it is at the bottom of 61. I have no mover, I have no seconder, so it's sort of out there on its way to Mars right now until you tell me what you want to do with this. This is the feline, no, it's not. This is the Long Point portable washroom location. Be received as information. What's your wish? Councillor Geisens, any thoughts? That is correct. There was a report last week, and this endorses the placement of the washrooms and hand wash stations for this summer. Do I have a seconder? Moved by Geisens, seconded by Columbus, received as information, and that this council hereby endorses the placement of portable washroom facilities in Long Point area prior to the 2017 summer season. Any discussion here, Councillor Black?
The only problem I don't have any problems with putting washrooms down in Long Point, as long as they're in the right spot. But this is, in my mind, not the right spot to put some of them in the front yards of the cottage owners and have to listen to them all day long, the doors opening, closing. Nobody would want one of those on their property. I just don't think it's fair or right to locate them in those strategic places. I'm still sure that there's better spots that we could find for them.
Anything else? Okay, you've heard the motion. I'll call the question. Those in favor? Those opposed? That is carried. Over the page to Resolution 10. There is the motion printed at the top of that page. I do have a mover, Councillor Black. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Oliver, thank you. And the motion says that this report on the Feline Services Draft Agreement be received as information that the county hereby approves the draft agreement and authorize the general manager to execute the documents with the Simcoe and District Humane Society and with the Norfolk Paws. Is there any discussion on this? Councillor Geisens.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can't support this for a number of reasons. Here we are, we're going to spend something like $50,000 to go in and catch feral cats, take them to a vet, neuter or spade, make sure that they're in good health, and then we take them right back to where they were before. So how are we ever going to get that under control? To me, what should happen is you take one feral cats at one area or whatever it is, take them all away. You can spade, neuter, and do whatever you have to do, and adopt them to somebody. If you can't adopt them, well, I'm sorry, then there has to be another purpose. Because we will never, ever get this under control if we don't start taking out those feral colonies that are out there. Number one, we will be spending $50,000 for the next 10 years to get this done. And to me, I think that's not the way we should be doing it. I have no problem to helping them out with $50,000 to get rid of the colony. The other thing we've got to remember is we're putting them right back out where they are, where I know there's problems that they will eat birds, young rabbits, chicks, and everything that they can find. So theoretically, they're also a predator out there. So theoretically, we've heard some of the experts, Mr. Petrie, I think it was, that he talked about the number of birds that get killed by feral cats or any cats. So to me, maybe somewhere along the line, we're going to have to look at, I guess, a tag for cats like we have for dogs. So in other words, they pay for their own way. And to me, I cannot support it the way it is. The other thing that scares me out of this is that we are going to do this for actually some people's pets who can't afford to do and we should be dealing with feral cats, not with somebody's pet, as to whether we should spade or neuter that particular cat. And to me, I don't think that's the right thing to do, and I will not support it. So thank you very much.
Councillor Oliver, then Black.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wasn't going to speak to this, but I think I will just briefly. I agree with everything my colleague said, quite honestly, but I think this has been hanging over our heads long enough that I felt we need to give it a try. And I would remind council, the agreement says that they must try to adopt out first, and that only if that is unsuccessful would they be re-putting the animal back into the colony. I know we'll have to trust them to try it. If we get the statistics that support they're not adopting them out, they're all going back out into the colony, then I think as council we have fully the right at that point to say this program is not going to solve the problem. We can't continue it on. So I'm willing to give them this year as a trial and see what the results are after that.
Thank you, Councillor Black.
Mayor Lou, I don't think we're doing pets, are we? I think maybe that's what Chris had his hand up for. Councillor Geisen said we were doing pets. I don't think we are.
I did not say that. I said I didn't want it.
Oh, okay.
I think I misheard you. I apologize for that. I thought you said we might be doing somebody's pets. Continue. Sorry.
Okay, and I too, the same as Councillor Oliver, I think Councillor Geisen does absolutely raise some excellent points. I agree. But the problem I'm having, as Councillor Oliver has indicated, we've had this problem hanging over us for a long time now. And we've had two groups now, that have come forward with a possible solution. We haven't had anyone else coming forward. There hasn't been any other ideas or how to implement those ideas. I mean, if there were, certainly I'd be looking at those other ideas as well if it was going to be more effective in controlling our feral cat problem. So I don't think it's the best solution, but I think it's one that we at least need to try, and we've put in the motion that we need a report, I think, a couple of times before the pilot project ends, so we know what's going on, and I guess we'll have to assess it at that time.
Councillor Brunton, then Geisens.
Thank you, Mayor Luke. Well, I spoke briefly with Mr. Baird there a few minutes ago, and he indicated that I was concerned, and I did raise this when we passed the motion on to go ahead, that the 25 grand was going out the window. But he assures me that it's bring in a receipt for whatever catch you do, and it's monitored. So I feel it's a good program, and you're right, it's overdue. I too have a concern. I thought about, like Councillor Geisen said, I mean, who's going to know if somebody sneaks a cat in there and gets it spayed, neutered, or whatever. But maybe we could get some identification from the cat somehow, like, I don't know what, but I hope it's not abused, that's all. And And again, if we find out in 3 months we've only spent $5,000, so be it. You know, that'll be the way the program runs. Thank you.
Councillor Geisens?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, just for letting me speak again. I guess the one thing that I forgot and talked about, when we return those feral cats to their first home or wherever they've come, do you think that there aren't other cats that are going to come and then are going to breed there, and we're never going to get rid of those colonies if we put them back? So theoretically, I don't know how we can start spending that kind of money and not getting anywhere. Thank you.
Councillor Columbus?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I will support this pilot program. I've been struggling with it because I know that these cats, they do kill a lot of birds, small rabbits, whatever. It is an issue. But basically, if someone owns a cat and they care enough about the cat, they should keep it on their own property, just the way that dogs have to be kept on their own property.
Anything else on the motion? I'll call the question. Those in favor? Those opposed? At least you're smiling. Keep up the good work, Councillor. Keep up the good work, Councillor Geisens. I think we're going to get a report at the end of the year. That's pretty close to the end of the year. Okay. Page 68, Port Dover Harbor Museum minutes, moved by Councillor Wall, seconded by Councillor Geisens, that the Port Dover Harbor Museum minutes of April the 3rd, 2017 be received as information. Any questions or concern on those minutes on page 68? I'm going to call the question. Those in favor? It's carried. On page 71, moved by Councillor Brunton, seconded by Councillor Height, that the minutes of the Agricultural Advisory Board dated April 25th, 2017 be received as information. Councillor Height, please.
Thank you, Mayor Duke. If you could turn to page 74.
Okay.
It talks about the MPAC assessment updates for the farms. Now, underneath the follow-up, it says the advisory board may appear as a deputation when the treasurer's report on assessment goes to council. I know when we first spoke of this that it didn't pass council, but then the following week we were able to put it through to council. But as I understand it, what happened here was that the advisory board was never notified that there was a reconsideration by council. So they never did come out. So I know there's nothing we can do now, but that's a flaw in the process.
I'm confused with reconsideration.
When we had spoke about sending the farm tax ratio back to the AG committee for comment, originally it had failed.
Okay.
And then we pulled it for discussion the following week, at which time it didn't fail. And it was supposed to get sent back to them.
Okay, I don't...
At council's direction.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, that's not cluing in. I'm not saying it didn't happen, I'm just saying...
It's in the minutes from before.
Okay.
So...
Maybe an oversight?
Definitely.
Well, and I guess we pretty well made our decision for the next year anyhow. So maybe that's something down the road. Councillor Wells.
Aye, under 5.1, road entrance permits, and the last sentence, concern was expressed that farmers may not want to appear before this body. Could we have an explanation as why that statement is in there?
Councillor Columbus.
Well, I sit on the Ag Advisory Board, and this was an issue that was brought up about second entrances on farm fields. I spoke to Sean Vanacker this morning about it, actually. And this bylaw was passed in 2016, so it is fairly recent. Perhaps General Manager of Public Works has a comment on that, but I wondered why that was